on the show, Iran has admitted to unintentionally shooting down a Ukrainian plane, killing all 176 people on board. The Iranian President Hassan Rouhani has said that missiles were fired due to human error. He added that the crash was a great tragedy and an unforgivable mistake. He added that he regrets the quote-unquote disastrous mistake. The Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif blamed the U.S. adventurism. Iran said that it was on high alert due to the escalating tensions with the U.S. after denials that it shot down the Ukrainian Airlines plane on January 8th. The Boeing 737 plane crashed shortly after Khomeini International Airport in Tehran. Iran now says that it mistook the passenger plane for a hostile jet. The casualties included Iranian, Canadian, Swedish and Ukrainian citizens. Earlier, both the US and Canada had said that they had intel that a missile strike crash happened hours after Iran launched a series of rockets at 2 US air bases in Iraq. Iran had earlier declined to hand out the plane's black box to the US aerospace company Boeing. It later agreed to cooperate with international investigators. Well, reactions have begun pouring in after Iran admitted to the down, calling for transparency. The Canadian Prime Minister has said that it was time for closure and accountability. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has demanded punishment and compensation. Zelensky said that Iran must officially apologize for the crash. Remember, all 176 people on board have died. The flight was en route to the Canadian city of Toronto via the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. Most victims were from Iran and Canada, while others were from Ukraine and Sweden. Russia has said since the 2014 Ukrainian crash, remember, all 298 people on board were killed when a Malaysian jet liner was shot down. Joining us to talk more about this crisis is Mir Javed Anfar, analyst for Middle East and also the co-author of The Nuclear Sphinx of Tehran. Mir Javed Anfar, thanks very much indeed for joining us this evening, joining us from Tel Aviv. The cost of escalation is human lives lost. What is the explanation of the flight being mid-air, during those strikes that were taking place from Iran inside of Iraq? And now, of course, the Iranian side saying that they actually asked the flight to return mid-air, but it was too late.
Well, to be honest with you, first of all, as an Iranian, I'd like to offer my condolences to many of the flights as well as to all the passengers. This is a great tragedy. Second of all, one of the things that's being said in Iran itself, one of the criticisms is that when at times of high tension like this, why wasn't the aerospace closed? If the Iranian aerospace authorities were so concerned about such an issue, why did they even allow such a plane to take off? And to be honest with you, I don't accept the explanation by Iran Foreign Minister Javad Zarif. Authorities are going to do in terms of their credibility. This has really hurt their credibility. And now the head of the anti-aircraft division of the IRGC has said I think he's saying he's resigning. I'm not sure, but I think many people in Iran want him to stand trial on what has happened. And now we have to wait and see whether the public, this has really destroyed that will happen or not.
Right. And do you think, Mir Javed Anfar, that this disaster, in a sense, has also led to the eventual, de-escalation of tensions in some sense between the United States and Iran, given the fact that the Iran government is completely internationally?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know. Look, Trump has asked for negotiations with Iran, but I'm not sure the Iranians are in a position to negotiate with him at this point because they are worried that it might be interpreted as a sign of weakness by the Trump administration. If Trump is elected anyway, I mean, they only have to wait till November till they know. But I think, I think we have to look at this tragedy as something that, unfortunately, tragedies happen. But the way it was handled, this is in the crisis management courses around the world. This has got to be one of the case studies of how not to manage a crisis. And I think that the repercussion has been undermined in Iranian organizations. This is something that's going to live for a long time, because it's not the only issue here. There was the demonstrations after the assassination of Qasem Soleimani, the police did not want to allow people to go to side streets because they wanted to make the demonstrations look big. So 70 people were crushed to death on the main street because the police did not allow people to go on the side street in order to from the march that was happening. You have this like a series of issues that has made disasters that we've seen over the last week in Iran.
Okay, you're making an interesting point there that the crowds will possibly. What sort of ground do you think the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khomeini is? And maybe not surging as much as we were seeing on Iranian television, but what does this do to at the moment?
See, the issue here is that people,
to the future of Ayatollah Khomeini, while Trump has of course closed.
See, in Iran you have a government that's elected by the people, and you have a regime that's unelected.
In political ranks, he has support from Republicans. He seems to have emerged victorious from the killing of Qasem Soleimani.
By the people, and Ayatollah Khomeini is the head of the regime. He's in charge of taking all the important cabinet in the Supreme Leader. It's not just a question of politics. It's just a question that he makes all the important decisions in Iran when it comes to dealing with America, when it comes to going to war or making peace. In Iran, people die and nobody takes responsibilities. It's a question of terrible things. But he doesn't take responsibility for when things go wrong. He just passes it along because that's his position. He's unelected. He gives the management of the country. It's about a terrible pollution. There's been, I think, people are increasing. I see some of the chants on the streets of Tehran in front of one. There were 3 or 4 weeks children in Tehran could not go to school because the air is so polluted. So I think this is really undermining the credibility and the legitimacy of the regime for a number of reasons, but most importantly because it doesn't take responsibility for things when they go wrong.
Right. The Trump administration, of course, is threatening new sanctions, 17 new sanctions against the Iranian government, and you've said that the Iranians are just going to wait and watch till the elections in November. Correct. Do you think that all of this means that things are going to be in suspended animation as far as any negotiations or escalations are concerned between the two countries?
I have to say this live on your show that it's extremely difficult. I have to be honest with you. But I think, look, the Iranians want Trump out. They know that if there's a crisis that, for example, pushes the price of oil just before the elections, that might hurt him. So what I can say, perhaps with a lot of caveats, is that we might see the Iranians upping the ante just before the U.S. elections as means of pushing Trump out, and attacking the Persian Gulf or getting the Americans expelled from Iraq. It could be a number of things. But one thing is for sure, the Iranians do not want Donald Trump to be re-elected in November 2020.
Right, absolutely. Mir Javed Anwar, thanks very much indeed for joining us in Chicago.